I got my bets for the week. Do you have anyone you want to shout out first?
I got a couple questions for you.
Ooh, okay.
As
It's
we get
about
into
how
this,
to
right?
lose betting on golf, because I couldn't tell you all about that.
At Mayo Experience.
This is the final word on the Wyndham Championship, sponsored by Underdog. Use code Mayo at Underdog, all right? They sent me out to the Wyndham Championship 2 years ago. Had a blast. Got familiar with the course, so I got some insights on the course. If you're looking for the DraftKings picks this week, hit the time codes. You can flip to like an hour from now, and Alex Blickle will be on breaking down some splits and the lineup construction and ownership. Didn't forget about you good DraftKings people. Enough people reached out to me that they missed the show last week that we're going to start doing a half-hour segment on DraftKings towards the end after the final word. Keith Stewart from Read the Line is on the line with me right now. Sir, here's a hypothetical question. If it was me, if it was me, Cust, and Jeff versus you, and we got to play a scramble, could we beat you?
Okay, what kind of handicaps am I dealing with here?
You got a 7, a 15, and a 20.
How long is the golf course?
Around 6,400 yards.
A lot of trouble?
Trouble if you don't hit fairways. Yes, there's a lot of trees where it's just out of bounds.
I bet it would be very competitive.
Okay.
It's hard to go against a scramble.
Yes.
Especially with that level of quality of play. And you guys may have never been described that way before, but over the course of that many holes with that many shots available, and you guys get to learn on the putting green, like how the putt exactly breaks and then hit the next putt or chip, it gets really hard. A quick side story about scrambles going against very good players. I've been out. Okay, so in my Isleworth years, there would be all these contests that would surround some of the pro golfers, and obviously the ones that were most important were the ones with Tiger Woods. And Upper Deck ran this contest one time, much like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where they had like a golden ticket. So if you opened up like an Upper Deck thing of trading cards that they were doing for golfers back in the day. Now, this is like 25 years ago. And if you got a golden ticket, there were 4 of them out there. You got to come and play a scramble against Tiger Woods at his home course, which is where I worked. So when the time came that those 4 guys showed up to play that round, it was these 4 Joes that were all around bogey golfers. So somewhere between like a 10 and 15 handicap, all 4 of them were. They had to take on Tiger, and the one caveat was that they could use Tiger's drive.
Oh.
And then the 4 of them could hit from there. And more often than not, sometimes they did. Sometimes they didn't use his drive as much as you would think they did. It was very helpful on the par 3s. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, these 4 jabronis kept it pretty close the whole day. And and a number of times it was of their own volition that like they came up with a decent shot and like made birdie against Tiger when he like made birdie, and then they tied him and they kept the match going and going and going. So believe it or not, sometimes scrambles are really, really difficult. I mean, it's tough to beat. If I played you guys like better ball of partners, it was like your best net score against my score, the 3-on-1, that would be very difficult. A scramble is even tougher.
I would think that the scramble would be relatively unfair. So I was thinking about this because we started shooting some YouTube golf. We had me, Cuss, and Pizzola play a scramble to see if we could make more birdies than bogeys in the 9 holes that we played. Previous to this show, I just booked a flight for Jeff to come out, and we're going to play 18, 2 separate 9s with 2 separate games, all probably scramble format with me, him, and Cuss. That if we put the 3 of us together to face you as a video, you being the professional golfer that you are, that it would probably make more sense to play best ball rather than scramble for us. That we could use one of the scores between the 3 of us versus you. Because I do think that even with what we shot with me, Custom Pizzola, that it would probably be relatively unfair. You're not shooting 61 out there.
No, I mean, I would think that the 3 of you on a 6,400-yard golf course that at least one of you is used to and knows the greens, that you guys should be able to shoot somewhere right around par and or even under par, really.
I would bet we would shoot under par as a scramble.
If you're going to shoot under par, then you're going to beat me, probably. I'll probably shoot right around par or a couple over, and then I'm going to be in trouble.
Maybe we should find out next year.
I mean, year's not over yet.
Wow, the golfing year up here, because football starts soon, is about over for me.
Okay. All right. Well, put it on the books for next year.
Wow.
I would
The,
that would be a lot of fun. I mean, that would be great fun.
the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I'll do it on air, so like to force your hand here, because I know that we did it a little bit during the fall series last year. So I was thinking about what's a good Monday show to do in football season. I think the move might be half golf, half football. That if you join me for like 45 minutes every Monday to go through the odds board, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got to do something. We can't just leave people off, at the doorstep for the 8 events this fall. We definitely have to do something.
All right.
So,
Well, let's talk.
yeah.
Let's talk Wyndham Championship. It's a course where there are a lot of bettors have had a lot of success. There's outside of Cam Young, who just kind of elevated his game above everyone else. That's why he's the number 3 player in the world right now, winning last year. A very solid prototype of winner that we see at this tournament almost every single year, Keith.
Yeah, it's pretty much accuracy merchants. Guys that can strike their golf ball and they know where it's going to land. They don't need to look for it. The straight and narrow kind of wins out here.
Now, after seeing the course, and when we get to Blickle a little bit later on, he ran a course fit model about how this is one of the courses where distance matters the least of anything, and how good Brian Harman tends to be at courses like that, where accuracy above all is the thing that you want. Seeing it here in person, that when you think about courses where that demand accuracy, some of those demand distance, something like 3M demands both, but like Sawgrass, it's a lot of the Florida courses in a weird way, along with Heritage, where accuracy and positional play means so much, but there's landmines off of those places. There's not a lot of landmines at Sedgefield. It's just, you can't control your spin when you're in the rough, and if you can't control your spin coming into these greens, you're kind of screwed.
Absolutely. And it's funny you bring up all the courses like in the Southeast, because those are the ones that tend to have more Bermuda grass influence. And really that's what it comes down to. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. You don't hit it into a pond. You don't hit it into an out of bounds situation or something like that. You just keep getting into the rough and you can't control spin. You can't control your trajectory. And then next thing you know, you're off the green somewhere and you're chipping into the green on Bermuda grass, which is really, really difficult to do. Even if you are one of the best short game, even if you're Hideki or JT, it is super, super hard to do. And that just adds up over the course of 72 holes. And there are guys that are going to keep it in play that are going to shoot 20 under, and then you just can't keep up.
I remember the first time that I played on Bermuda grass in Florida, and I didn't know what was going on with chipping. Or like even hitting into the rough, like there's a certain way that you need to be able to clip the ball out of the rough when it starts to sit down. And just, I had no experience with this at all, coming from playing in like bent greens and like POA mix rough and fairways up in the Northeast.
Every week when I create a betting narrative for the venue and the event that it is that week, so the Wyndham Championship, I like to try to do something original, even though it's like year after year we're going to the same place, and this one hasn't been touched. So Detroit last week was fun. It was great to learn about the new golf course and to see it.
I loved
and
it, by the way. I
yeah.
love the change. Like you could really see the changes last week. And it didn't play harder, as you mentioned. Like relative to par, obviously it did because they changed the par, but guys still made a ton of birdies. But there was trouble out there if you found it.
I mean, so many people either DM'd or texted me or mentioned to me, I was out playing some golf this weekend. They're like, oh my God, we should put eyebrows on our bunkers and blah, blah, blah. I said, you guys will hate it. I go, it looks great on TV, but for those guys, it's not a big deal because they don't hit the ball in those situations. But like those things are almost impossible to get out of. Now they look stunning and they really draw your eyes toward the trouble. And it's a great architecture trick and design trick, but man, balls get hung up in those things. You get the weirdest lies. You've got you're like climbing the face of a bunker. The people there at Detroit, they should be super happy with the renovation. I mean, it looked spectacular, but everyone mentioning to me, the eyebrows on those bunkers, I just kind of laughed because I was like, from a playability perspective, if you did it once, you would all right, mow those things off and then keep it the same way because it looks great.
I had made mention to Jeff that I played a very linksy style course last weekend when I was away at a wedding. One of my favorite courses to play in the province, and it's like true links, and it has a bunch of fescue. And the fescue is very reminiscent of what we saw in Detroit this week, that if you are in it, you are lucky to find it, let alone hit it. And the pace of play was crippled because of it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was looking at Royal Birkdale, or they look at the Renaissance Club, and they hadn't had a ton of rain, and you could see how sparse it was. But if that stuff starts to grow up from the bottom, then forget about it. You go in there, you're lucky if you can find it. You might as well be in a gorse bush. So you have to be careful. If an area you've been at has those fescue or native areas, and it has gotten a decent amount of rain, if you go in, you might as well hit it in a lake. You're not getting it out of there. And if it's nice and wispy, which sometimes we see, like we saw at Royal Birkdale, and you're watching the best players in the world, you're like, oh, I could get out of there. Next thing you know, you hit it, and you're a right-hander, and you hit it. You almost hit your left shin with the ball because the face shuts down so quick when the fescue grabs the shaft, and it just shuts the head down. It's but I love Parkland golf courses like that have those amber waves of grain, like alongside the fairways. I just think that's a really, really sharp look of contrast.
And we're not going to get that as much here in Greensboro. When I was there 2 years ago, it was Hurricane Barbara, I want to say. Hurricane something. Hurricane Debbie came through, and it wiped out the first day of play. And the course was essentially underwater. We played the next day at a course that was in a municipal park that was awesome. Like one of the best courses I've just randomly ever played. It's like, hey, no one was on the course because everyone was just terrified of flooding and all this stuff, but it had passed. By that point, the tournament organizers did a fantastic job with getting everything gone. We were perched at 17. That's where our hospitality tent was, which is an awesome hole to watch guys just try to throw darts into in that really small hole, or just absolutely mangle if you miss it on the short side. So that was a lot of fun to go to. But that year, it became devastating to hit it into the rough because not only could you not control the spin, the rough is quite grown out here that as we saw on Sunday in Detroit, when it gets wet, it's hard to get the ball out all of a sudden. You're not going to Chris Kirk and Xander shank it out, but you're just not going to be able to control your distance whatsoever. And in the forecast right now, it looks like we're getting rain almost every single day that we're down there. How much? I don't know. Is it that type of rain that's in the forecast and just never comes? Potentially. But at least one of these days, we're going to get rain overnight to make the course both soft, which will make it scoreable if you hit the fairway. But if your accuracy is off that day, you're going to be shooting 4 over par.
Something like 9.25 inches of rain in July. This week, they've already had a 1/4 inch of rain between Sunday and Monday. As you said, we're looking at a chance of rain almost every single night. And with the humidity levels, it's going to be spongy down there. I don't think there's much they can do to help that, which is a shame. I would love to see this event just once be played on the firm and fast conditions. But to kind of get back to the beginning point that I was making is that when you have Bermuda grass wall to wall, and this is one of the reasons why they've changed it in the Florida swing, they go to Poa Trivialis on the greens, or they overseed with ryegrass in the rough. And the big change, everyone made a big deal about when Jake Knapp shot whatever he shot,
59 at PGA National.
Is Jake Knapp a swear word on the show this week? Anyway, moving right along.
He stole so much money from me last week. It was, my God. Oh, my God.
I would go and cut his hair right now. I'm so mad.
You know who else stole money from me? Michael Thorbjornsen. That guy stole money from me. I had both the guys in first place making the turn.
Yeah.
Xander, he did show up, by the way.
Xander did show up. He was engaged. I'll give him credit for that, for sure. Maybe he didn't like that he didn't get to Atlanta last year.
Can we cash out? Should we just make a rule that Michael Brennan, once he gets through 63 holes, we can cash him out?
Well, I tell you what, Thorbjornsen had that problem all spring, and he seems to have ironed that out, at least with the 63 this past Sunday. But, we'll get on in a million tangents as we always do, but Bermuda grass just makes everything more difficult. The fact that they list the rough length at 2 to 2.5 inches to start the tournament week on Thursday, and then they stop mowing, just gives you an idea. If you think about US Open rough, to make it really difficult, they make it 4+ inches and they let it grow, right? It's half that length. And that's what they leave Bermuda at. And no one loves to play for it. Every player hates Bermuda. And that's just the rough. The fairways alone, you can mow them so tight that the ball sits low. So think about the polar opposite of zoysia grass. Everybody loves zoysia because the ball sits up so high. It's a really strong blade. It sits up. It's almost like it's in the first cut at your normal home club where you're oh, it rolled into the first cut. I can hit like a fairway wood. I love this.
Oh,
right?
dude. And I played on Zoysia. The first time I played on Zoysia was when I went down to Southwind last year. I played, shout out to Dalton and the crew who had me out at their course, which was right next to it, which also featured a guy that I grew up 4 houses up from, who went to he got a golf scholarship to the University of Memphis and just lives down there now. It's like, hey, what's going on?
Nice.
I know your cousins. This is great. So very few Nova Scotians lingering around. There was 2 that day out at the course. But even when you hit it into the rough, like chipping from the rough around the greens, like you were able to spin that ball no problem. It was so much fun.
Oh, it's like hitting it off a mat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
I can do.
It's like going to your favorite driving range, and then so Bermuda, especially down in Florida or in the areas where it gets super hot and it's such a tolerant weed that you could cut that thing so tight. So the fairways are even harder because the ball sits lower. The rough is even harder because you can't control spin. Sometimes the ball sits up, and then you got to make sure you don't hit it high on the face, and then you don't hit it anywhere. You'll see a bunch of those this week where a guy will go in and he'll not read the lie right. He'll think the ball's on the ground, and he'll go through it, and he'll hit like whatever it is. It's like a 160-yard shot. He's hitting a 9-iron, and the thing shows up 30 yards short of the green. Like he just thought it was on the ground, and it was sitting up like in the middle of the Bermuda. Like that happens all the time. You can't control any spin. And then you could get all sorts of wicked flyer lies where guys like fly the green. Now you're at a Ross course where everything is pretty much sloped from back to front. You can't get over the hole. You can't get sideways because that's where all the 58 bunkers are. So, and then you get around the green and you can't chip from that stuff. If it's long, it's like a Brillo pad. It's like coming out of the nappy dugout, right? And then the other thing is like you get those grainy lies. So how do greens drain? Why are they designed the way that they are? They're designed that way so the water runs off of them. So the water runs off the slopes, which takes all the grain in the grass and points it downhill, which is the direction that the club is going into if you're chipping towards the hole or towards the green. So you always end up these into the grain lies. You can't use the leading edge of the club at all. That's why you see the guys stab at it all the time because you can't use bounce. The club's just going to chunk it. Then you got all sorts of issues. If you're an amateur golfer, you're sculling it, you're chunking it, whatever. You have to really dig it in. I mean, and then you get on the greens. Even if these things were flat, most people can't read Bermuda grass. They don't putt towards the rip at the hole. And then, the grain adds more speed. If you're going downhill, if you're going down grain, it can slow it down. It can move it left and right. It's like every ounce of what makes golf hard gets exacerbated this week when you go wall to wall Bermuda grass. And that's why this place can be so predictive at times.
It's a fun course to watch, too. It's a part of what I used to call the Pat Mayo circuit of courses that I really like, where almost any skill set can prevail. I've mentioned a few of them earlier. Sawgrass should be a part of this mix, but it really isn't because all of the best guys always end up winning at Sawgrass because all of the best players. Like that's the one thing that is fun about this tournament is that you don't get all of the best players here. So 1 or 2 of the elite players can most surely be beaten this week by almost anyone, like when Jim Harman ends up winning this tournament. But if you put 20, the top 20 in the world all in this field, one of those guys would end up winning. But we don't have that this week. So it's like Sony, it's like Amex, it's like the Honda, the Old Heritage, Colonial. It's all a part of sort of the same circuit of similar type fields, similar length courses where any skill set can prevail, and accuracy and great iron play with the hot putter is essentially what you're looking for as long as you bring a short game to go along with it. Now, you can negate a bad short game here as long as you just hit every single green, but I went and looked at the numbers. Very few guys hit every green.
It is considerably above. What's it like 72, 73%? PGA Tour average is like 66% for greens and regulation. So it's a little bit above, but you get a lot of wedges. So that's what happens. If this place had a world-class field every year, there'd be a ton of comp talk between here and Augusta National. Angles off the tee are so important. Like every hole bends either left to right or right to left. You have a bunch of raised tee boxes where you have to hit down to the fairway and then back up to the green complex. The greens themselves, much like Augusta National, they kind of mitigate putting skill because they are so severe at times and they're so grainy that like most people are putting defensively. It really is a fun golf course that pretty much anyone could win on. You could certainly have Michael Brennan or Brian Harman win this week, or Brian Campbell, or Potgieter, or a guy in between like Glover has done, or Aaron Rye, or those types of guys. It really is the type of golf course that if you have control of your golf ball, and if you're like Cam Young and you could hit it 320 and straight out clothesline, then you're gonna have a huge advantage. If you're like Aaron Rye and you just never miss a fairway and your iron game is on that week, whether mid or short iron, then you could do it that way too. I'm with you. I love this event, and then you put the competitive chaos on top of it of these guys fighting for their playoff lives and also their when it used to be like this was the cutoff for 125. Oh man, I mean that was like some real serious like slam your trunk, storylines. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's more fun now, and it's really benefited this field that they cut it to the top 70 to get your card and get into the playoffs, because
Yeah.
Jason Day, Keegan Bradley, like names that would otherwise be so in like they're 50 spots above where you need to get your tour card. They're like, yeah, whatever, I'm inside the top 100. Now they actually have to show up and play for their meal ticket here. Those guys will be fine because they'll get into enough events, but it puts them on the back burner for next year.
Well, I text the guys at the tour because they always have a number, mathematical number, and the top 63 are set. So those guys are in.
That's it. I'm glad I guessed that because that's what I wrote in the column, and I just made that up.
Yeah, so the top 63 are in. 64 is pretty much in, but anyone after that, if you don't make the cut and a bunch of guys from the other side play really, really well, which hasn't historically happened, it's like the average of guys jumping in is like 2.5, and you'd think it would be more, but it's just not. But those couple guys that do and don't, that like they get pushed out, it's a big deal.
Yeah, the issue ends up being is that the guy that normally wins isn't a guy from outside. It's a guy who's well inside, and that just sucks up a lot of the FedEx Cup points.
Yeah, that, and I think you could be in the golly, I have to look back at the text string, but I think they said you could be like number 175 and win and still get into the top 70. Like that's
170.
Like
well, what do you get if you win? You get 500 points?
500 points, yeah. It's like somewhere, it's a lot further than you think.
So let's see here. Let's pick Matty Schmidt, who is 4 spots in. He's number 67. He has 580 points. So theoretically, anyone with more than 80 points would have a shot here. So if Will Gordon or Zach Johnson win this week, I mean, Zach Johnson could be competitive. I don't even know if he's in the field or not. He just won like the Senior Open or something. He's crushing it on the Senior Tour. Yeah. If he was, though, this would be an event.
This is his kind of place.
Yeah, this is an event he could theoretically win. Like Davis Love won here at 50.
Yeah, I mean, well, that and again with the back to your point about cutting it to the top 70, the field's gotten a lot better here, and much like some of those events where they've like the Deer where they've leaned in and let more kids come play. I mean, Jackson Coyven played here a year ago. He got a sponsors exemption in, so like that's those types of events that keep doing that and keep letting the kids in. They create better golf tournaments.
I 100% agree. And we saw that Chris Gotterup got a sponsors exemption to the John Deere 4 or 5 years ago and put it to good use and really propelled his PGA career with a top finish there. He then comes back and plays and wins your tournament, winning his 3rd event of the year. Like it's not that they're going to be loyal every single year to go back, but we've even seen this at the Canadian Open over the years, that is usually the spot where the AMs end up turning pro and playing. Like Ben James. If Ben James turns out to be awesome, like he'll probably go back to Canada and play a whole bunch because that's where he made his first start.
Hey, he came back a couple times for sure, and then there was the whole Rory thing. Well, we didn't need to talk about Canada, but Rory really helped put that National Open back on the map, which was really some nice work by him.
He did, and people were mad at him for not showing up this year. It's like, give the guy a break. He played the last 7 years here and gave it a pulse again.
Oh man, he built that event.
He saved it.
He saved it, gave it life. Brought Shane, brought Tommy Ladd, brought all of those guys up there along with him, and just did wonderful work to that. I mean, that event was really tired after the Tiger years, and went through about a decade of just miserable fields. And now all of a sudden, and it so him doing that, maybe got her up to a place like Deere could do the same sort of thing. Although who knows what happens in 28, but like it's a great reason for letting those kids in. I'd much rather see those guys do it than those guys play than a couple of mules. I want to see Jackson Coyven and Blades Brown play together this week. I'm not looking for
William McGirt. He's in the field.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to do any drive-bys, but yeah.
I like to, hey, listen, Dirt McGirt once won me a lot of money like 10 years ago. So
Tommy Two Gloves Gainey,
2 gloves. What's the motel situation like in Greensboro?
I've been to Greensboro once, man. 2 trips in one, first and last. I'm good.
I disagree. I really enjoyed Greensboro. I thought it was, if we were in Texas, the thing that I would have comped it to is like when I went to Austin. Austin's obviously so much bigger and Austin has exploded. But being in Greensboro was Like the downtown scene was like pretty cool. Like we had some, where did we go? We went to a barbecue place. Next door was like a hip bowling bar that was pretty cool. The hotel that we stayed at was actually like staying like right next to like Michael Kim. It's the first time I met Michael Kim was in like the one big hotel that they have there, which is across from this really cool baseball field. I thought Greensboro was really cool.
I guess it's nice to be, taken there.
That is true. Yes. Yeah. When it's not on my dime, it's different.
Yeah. The RTL routine is a little less bougie, but hey, by all means, if you got to see it better than I did, I'm not trying to throw any shade on Greensboro, but it's a great event. I love the Wyndham.
I've talked about Helix for years and will continue to because it's one of those products I actually use every single day. In fact, there are 5 Helix mattresses in my house right now. Ours, the kids, the guest room, and every single one has been fantastic. They're comfortable, they've held up incredibly well, and getting a great night's sleep actually makes a huge difference when you're trying to keep up with work and kids and trying to golf as much as possible and everything else that you might want to do. What I really like is that Helix has over 20 different mattress models, so you're not just stuck with a one-size-fits-all bed. Whether you like to sleep hot or cold, or looking for something firmer, or you want a softer feel, there's an option that is built for you. Plus, every mattress comes with a 120-night sleep trial, a limited lifetime warranty, and the Happy with Helix guarantee, so you can buy with confidence. Head to helixsleep.com/Mayo and use code MAYO for 20% off during the early access Labor Day sale. That's helixsleep.com/Mayo. Make sure you enter my show name after checkout so they know that I sent you. All right, let's talk about something no one in endurance sports likes to admit. You can be training your ass off, cardio, stress, not recovering properly, and yeah, it can mess with your performance everywhere. Because it all comes back to blood flow. Most guys jump straight to pills. That's just treating the symptom. The real key is nitric oxide. That's what controls circulation, endurance, and yeah, performance. That's why Joy Mode actually makes sense. It's a natural booster that supports nitric oxide production, not the fake pixie dust stuff. Just tear open a packet, mix it like an electrolyte drink, and you are good to go. Use it when you need it, or use it daily to raise your baseline. Think of it like training. One dose helps, consistency changes everything. If you want to support sexual performance the same way you support training and recovery, naturally and intelligently, Joy Mode has a deal for my listeners. Go to tryjoymode.com/Mayo or enter Mayo at checkout for 20% off. Joy Mode, the electrolyte packet for your dick. And the course itself was really nice. And the tournament, people always talk about how well this tournament is put on. And I saw that the state of North Carolina is going to put up money to try to make this one of the championship series events. However, this is the last year that the Wyndham is the title sponsors, the 20th year that they've had it. And I think that they might have a new sponsor in place, Keith. Do you have any insight on that?
I do not. I haven't heard anything. I haven't. I don't have any real insight that I can share. That being said, I did hear the news about the Chamber of Commerce saying that they want to keep a championship series event there, which I think is a very cool thing to do. And I will say this much. When I was there, the crowd showed up. The tournament was extremely well run. It was definitely a first-class event from start to finish.
Well, I think that they do have a new sponsor in tow from a few of my contacts at the course. Basically, they're putting that on the back burner and are going to announce it later because they don't want to take away from the 20th anniversary of the Wyndham sponsoring the tournament and make it about the new sponsor. They want to keep Wyndham happy because maybe Wyndham will do something else with them sometime in the future. But I think that they might have the new sponsor in place. I think that's why the Chamber of Commerce came out and announced that.
Everyone that listens to us is some form of a golf fan, and to what degree, choose your own, right? But like $30 million from one company for a 1-week activation around the PGA Tour is a pretty big number. And you start to limit yourself to the number of companies that you can work with that can put out $30 million for a 1-week deal. And, the tour knows what they're doing. As witnessed by last week, every day we got a new Champ Series announcement. And then this week, there'll probably be some more. And, they're going to keep rolling that stuff out. while someone keeps rolling Live Golf into the coffin, and they're just going to keep doing their thing. And all of that. I mean, does that remind you of anything? Oh, here's the draft. Oh, here's the schedule announcement. Oh, here comes OTAs. Oh, here comes free agency. Oh, here comes the preseason. Oh, it's time for the regular season. I mean, it's so scripted, in line with the most successful sports, league in our country. Good for them, because, it's going to get more people excited about competitive and professional golf. I love it.
Got some trivia for you. 6
Oh, boy.
Wyndham Championship winners have won the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass over the past 15 years. Can you name the 6?
They're all in the field?
They're not all in the field, no. Just past winners of the Wyndham.
Past winners of the Wyndham: Siwoo, Davis, Cam Young. Oh, golly.
You got 3 more to go.
Webb Simpson.
Webb
of
Simpson.
course.
That's 4. You got 2 more to go.
Oh,
They're both Euros.
They're both Euros, man. Henrik Stenson?
Henrik Stenson. Yeah, and he won in 2017 at the Wyndham Championship. That leaves one more. It was the 2012 winner of the Wyndham Championship, a guy that you would have thought would have never played this course, but he did, and he won. And he putted with
I mean, everybody's favorite. The guy who loves to spit in the cup.
That is correct, sir. Sergio Garcia is the winner.
Sergio. Yeah.
You got all of them.
He was 12?
Yeah.
Well, you're reading it, but he was right around then. I can't remember them all.
2012 would be correct.
6 players winners.
The 2008 Players Champion. And Kisner won here, who lost in a playoff at the Players.
Yeah, that Kisner win a couple of years ago got him all that steam about the Ryder Cup, and it was between him and Scotty to be on the Ryder Cup team. Imagine that. At Whistling Straits.
Well, I felt bad for Kisner, because maybe he was a part of the team. It was my pitch at the time when they played at Le Club National that they should just bring Scott Brown and Kevin Kisner as a team, because that course was geared for them.
Oh.
Instead, they had like Bubba and Bryson hit it into the water.
Phil, yeah. I mean,
like they brought, like the team they brought to Whistling Straits was the right team. Like that was, especially at that time, because the Ryder Cup Americans versus the Ryder Cup Euros, the skill discrepancy in what those guys did well was so off. That like Team USA was bomb and gouge city, and then it was the Tommy Fleetwoods and the Molinari. Sure, you had Rory, you had Young Rahm,
Westwood, Poulter.
Yeah, but like now the Euros are the bomb and gouge team.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with the Euros at a place that doesn't mow the rough or doesn't have any rough. It's super long and big and brawny. I don't know if you can think of any golf courses like that, but I wouldn't want to mess with those guys at those places.
Yeah, weirdly, the Americans need to revert to the old school style. Like when they do their setup, they should set it up like the old European courses, where like a Sedgefield, where it's like, if you miss the fairway, you're in big trouble here. Like you want to, but you don't need to hit it a mile.
It's not hard to trigger me when it comes to the Ryder Cup. We had 8 guys on our team that were finished in the top 23 at Oakmont, and we mowed the rough. I mean, what imbecile came up with that idea? I have no idea. I mean, that was like the simplest game plan in the world. We had 8 guys, 4 off the top 6 that qualified on points that you were stuck with, that were in the top 23 at Oakmont, and then 4 that you chose, and we still mowed the rough. Let's move on.
Well, it worked so well at Hazeltine when they blew them out. Why not run it back 8 years later?
I mean, there was nuance to what we did at Hazeltine that was like moving the tees up on the par 5s. Like we did all of these little nuance things that Davis Love was listening to the local people that were running the golf course, the superintendent and the director of golf. And they had studied and they'd done all their homework about the team and the way that they played. And that was the beginning of starting to use on the American side, not the European side. The European side's probably been doing it since Seve. But on our side, it was like the first time that we really leaned into how you would map a golf course and how it fit our team, and then how you'd put everyone together. And then what did we do? Shocker. We won. So kudos to the people at Hazeltine for running, and kudos to Davis for listening, and his vice captains and putting together a correct strategy. I mean, I don't know what happened to Bethpage Black, but it seemed pretty simple in my mind on how to attack that thing.
Next Ryder Cup's at Hazeltine on the American side, right?
Yes, 29.
Good course. Yeah, you go. Very fun course.
Yeah, I mean, the ladies just played there for the KPMG. They give a lot back to professional golf, elite professional golf, and it's a good test.
It's
You know,
also,
it's
and people always ask, like, why is it that, I mean, obviously they don't want to host the 3M. They don't want to be like the Minneapolis, like, run of the mill course that, no one really cares about. Hosting championship golf is what they're all about. But the amount of land on that course to set up grandstands and have people come and watch is probably more than any other course I've ever seen.
I mean, that's a huge component if you want to run a truly world-class event. The fact that they get like a signature series, like infrastructure and setup into like TPC River Highlands is like, I don't know. I don't know if the tournament organizer there was like grew up on Legos or what, but man, like that's amazing because if you go to a place like Quail Hollow and there's just all this space or what they do in and around like TPC Scottsdale and everything, it's just like, you're like, wow, yeah, this fits. Like, this is really cool the way it's all big and built out and the space that Pete Dye gave us at the stadium course at Sawgrass, like all of those things were kind of thought out. And it is a big deal. It's nice to have that kind of room.
And to bring it back to what because talking about the Canadian Open is what I do. It's one of the reasons that they moved to TPC Toronto because it's in the middle of a fucking farm that you can fit as many people there. Whereas the city courses are the smallest courses that you would ever see. Like every bit of property is used for the course because it's in the middle of a metropolitan city. Yet they were able to figure that out fine, but I can see why the logistics might be a bit more of an issue cramming people into that. But that was also what made it felt really fun at those city courses. And anytime that they go to city courses to play is that you can only have so many people in there that it feels claustrophobic and it feels full at all time, which I always think is a better both look like when you feel the atmosphere coming through the TV, but at the same time, it feels like the crowd is on top of the players. It makes it feel like a much bigger deal than probably the amount of people that are actually there.
Yeah, I distinctly remember Jeff's course, Oakdale.
Yeah.
Feeling like it was like everything was just like jammed in there. It reminded me of my senior prom. It was just like all crammed in. It was ridiculous, And it's like I mean, what a better venue than for Nick Taylor to hit that putt. I mean, that last amphitheater looks so small, but yet so many people were involved in it. Like what an epic moment that was. That was like that's probably top 5 best endings in golf. I bring this stuff up all the time because I love the game of golf. Like, how many times does a golf tournament end on the final shot? Like Ryan Fox, that was unbelievable what happened at the Open. I know we weren't together the week after, but like that never happens, and it happened with Nick Taylor that time. Those are the best tournaments by far.
Oh, for sure. And it's probably because it so rarely happens. I remember Adam Scott had a chance to win the Wyndham Championship in that 6-man playoff, the Kevin Kisner one. He had a 4-foot putt, miss, boom, Kisner wins.
Yeah. I mean, you get that graphic under your name, the putt to win. I mean, it says it all right there.
I had 3 guys in that fucking playoff.
Oh my God.
And Russell Henley, who missed by a stroke that year. Like, if there was, why did Russell Henley play last week and not this week? This is a Russell Henley course if there ever was one.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, I don't know. These guys, again, like it happens all the time. These guys get so locked into their schedule. You would think that they would care more about the venue they're going to sometimes, and they just don't. I don't know, man. I see it all the time, just like you, and it seems so obvious. Or like, Russell, like, I get it. You want to play one time before the playoffs start. That makes perfect sense to me. Why wouldn't you go to a place like you went to Georgia? You grew up with Bermuda grass all around you, like you played all of these types of places in Carolina when you're playing college tournaments. That's why like 8 of the last 20 winners here have significant ties to the Carolinas. And 4 of the last 7 have significant ties to the Carolinas. It's just like, it makes a difference. Like this style of golf is played a certain way and guys are accustomed to it. And, as such, your betting card or your DFS lineups should be sprinkled with some Carolina SEC natives.
SEC, that works for me. Maybe even some ACC stuff too, because they're down there as well.
Yeah. UNC, Wake, all good spots.
Let's make some bets then. I got my bets for the week. Do you have anyone you want to shout out first?
I got a couple questions for you.
Ooh, okay. It's about how to lose betting on golf, because I couldn't tell you all about that.
Hey, man, I I don't even know what to do with the one and done game anymore. It's like, it's
Let's
at a point right now
hey,
where I just want to start the year over, you know?
Listen, you'll have a fresh start. FantasyGolfChampionships.com. You can play the swing season one and done, or just wait for the big race for the Mayo Cup. There's like $110,000 to the winner, over $1 million guaranteed in the prize pool. Just type that in right now. FantasyGolfChampionships.com. Enter. Bookmark, and then go to your calendar, set a reminder for December 28th so you remember to get your spots this year. So listen, I had an awesome year in one and done last year. I'm having a bad year in one and done this year, but a win and 2 seconds over the next 2 weeks or something like that, all of a sudden I'm back in the money and I'm having a good year. So it's not over yet. My chances to win are gone. My chances to make money are still there. And I would say that most people are probably in a very similar boat to me. You could be 3,000th in the one and done right now. You get a win this week, or you get a second this week and a win next week in the bigger prize pool. All of a sudden, you're back in the money.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's just the confidence might be a little bit cracked. I lost to Peloton sometime around, I don't know, the PGA, it feels like. I'm just like back there pedaling, I feel. It's unbelievable. Took nap last week. We discussed it and everything. Couple different things. I was going to choose between Hideki and nap. I took nap. And then I took a nap.
I almost went with nap, and I was like, I have Chris Gotterup left. I'll use Chris Gotterup. Perfect. This is great. Miscut.
There you go. We're both equally screwed. I love it. Oh man. Oh God. All right, here's the thing. When guys are playing well, it seems like as golf bettors, we put together a card of outrights. 4 or 5 games, whatever it is, 3, 7, some people 15, whatever it may be. It's like you bet a guy 1 week, and then the next week he wins. And is there anyone from last week that you were really interested in? I know they're different golf courses, different grasses and everything, but is there anyone from last week that you're really interested in that you think may be even a better fit for this week after what you saw last week, in that like 30 to 80 range, where it seems like the winner comes from in this event a lot?
Yes. And there is a guy that maybe I'll just end up betting him. But if Michael Brennan wins this week, just take my shoelaces.
No sharp objects for you.
I'm not betting him this week. And it's not even that I think that the course is a bad fit for him. But he's got to get over the Sunday scaries at some point. And like you mentioned, Thorbjornsen was able to do it. It took like 3 or 4 times of just being absolute shit on Sundays. And then he was able to bottle that experience. And Brennan has won on a Sunday on the PGA Tour less than 12 months ago, albeit not against the strongest field in Utah, but he was still able to do it. That I worry about his short game. It's not that he can hit fairways if he's not hitting driver. And for whatever reason, he had his worst driving week of the season last week. He just happened to mix it with his best putting week of the year, which really helped stabilize him. But everything just went like he started hooking everything left off the tee, and his perfect speed on the greens that he had all week just abandoned him. Once it started to get like dry out a little bit on Sunday, it's like he had it down perfect for the front 9. It got a little bit faster and a little bit warmer in the afternoon, and he just could not adjust. And then he got the pressure from the wedges, and he was so good with his wedges all week, and then could barely hit a green from 90 yards out.
Yeah, I mean, it gets warm between the ears on that back 9 on Sunday too. It wasn't just the green speed. It's hard. I mean, as qualified as these guys are as winners, even coming up, the whole Thorbjornsen thing, look how long it took him to learn to win. And, the kid's from Stanford, the kid was all world. He won the US Junior, I think over Akshay at Baltusrol years ago. And then, it's just progression. You have to keep winning along the way. And, Jackson Koiven did the same thing, won as a junior, won a bunch in college, then comes out, wins on the PGA Tour, wins as a professional. Some people a little bit different rate, but I mean, it's still a pretty quick rate when you consider it for Thorbjornsen. I mean, it took Scotty 70 starts to win on the PGA Tour. How many did Thorbjornsen have?
Maybe 30,
40?
maybe 30 or 40. And so when we were comping the young guys last week, that I said that Koiven was kind of in a league of everyone else, I would have put Thorbjornsen, because we talked about Ludwig a little bit, how he was the star coming out. I would have put Thorbjornsen on the Ludwig tier of the hype that he got. Like we've been betting Thorbjornsen for a year and a half now, waiting for this to happen. And most smart people, not me, bet Thorbjornsen to win last week, and he finally won. I bet Thorbjornsen last year at the Rocket, because I was like, oh yeah, perfect fit.
I bet him at the Deer just a couple weeks ago, and he missed the cut. He was terrible. Saw nothing, and I just kind of marked him off my list. You know what? You talk about these young guns, and you want to talk about who we're betting on. I'm betting on Blaze Brown. I'm doing it.
Me
Kid's
too.
Sixth last week, fifth. I mean, he scores like a demon. And if the trend is your friend, and 3 of the last 4 weeks, it's been a guy under the age of 25 that's won, or 24 or younger, right? Thorbjornsen's 24. So Tom Kim's 24. He won the Scottish. You've got Jackson, who's 21, won the 3M. And then you've got Thorbjornsen, who's 24, who won last week. So if we're on a trend right now, I think the most valuable candidate for the next win would be either one of those guys to come back and win again, or Blades Brown for sure. That guy's been tearing up the Corn Ferry Tour, just like making birdie after birdie, and that's something you got to do here.
Super accurate too, which is going to be helpful here.
Yeah, and at 19 years old, I mean, hopefully he, between the ears, isn't as, his frontal lobe's not developed yet, so maybe he can just kind of like power through that, kind of like Tom Kim did 3 years ago when he was 20 years old when he won here.
Yeah, that was a crazy. The lasting, because he made a quadruple bogey on the first hole that year, and ended
on the first day. Yeah, are you correct? Yeah,
the opening round ended up winning. But the lasting image of Tom Kim's win here, he played in a group with Sungjae. I want to say like Hoagie or something like that, but I vividly remember it was Sungjae, because Sungjae went to Sunday with the lead, and Tom Kim made this like 35-foot putt that was going to miss the hole, but then hit Sungjae's marker and then veered back towards the hole and went in. Like everything went right for Tom Kim. I think he shot 61 on the final day.
Yeah, he did shoot 61 the final day. I mean, that was a great final round. And then like he goes to Charlotte for the President's Cup, goes nuclear there. Then 2 weeks after that, he beat Cantley in a playoff, right, out at the desert.
Yeah, and at Summerlin.
Yeah. So that was a great event. I mean, I get the Black Desert and everything. They pay for that spot, but like, man, the Summerlin was a great event. That was a lot of fun.
I've played both those courses, and I will tell you, Black Desert, much nicer.
I could see that. Summerlin's not a great golf course, but it was entertaining.
I loved it. I actually took on Read the Line's own Joe Adone we went out when we were in Vegas. We both played out there. Shout out to Scott, who always has us out, and Feinberg was out there with us. It's a really nice course. Like, it's a fun course. I kind of wish it was back in the rotation, but Black Desert is one of those courses that when you go to, it's unlike anything else you've ever seen before. Like, with that black lava, it's so weird.
I bet you it's striking. I bet you the whole thing's like just stunning looking at it. And then the mountain ranges in the background and everything, it's got to be just spectacular. All right. In the 30s.
Okay.
There's a couple guys in there. We had the same conversation last week, but you've got bounce back Ben Griffin. We've got Ryan Gerard, both with Carolina ties. We've got Hideki sitting in this range. Where's your head at with like those 3 names? Or maybe you have somebody else in the 30s that you're thinking about.
So I do, actually. So my first click, well, I had 2 first clicks. One was Luke Clanton, because all the young guys are winning. He's starting to show up a little bit more. Might as well go with Luke Clanton to see if this trend can continue. So I have him at 125-1 with 8 places. Maybe he can come through. I think he has a really good finish here in his career too. Last year or the year before. But Tom Kim I couldn't quite understand why Tom Kim was behind some of the guys he was behind on the leaderboard. Perfect fit golf course. Nothing has changed with Tom Kim from when he won like a month ago. It's just some weeks he putts and some weeks he doesn't. If this is a week he putts, then we're good.
It's tough to argue against that. I mean, he treated us well in Scotland.
And
80 plus to 1.
He can treat you well this week too. If you go to CoolBet, you can get him at 40-1 as the PME exclusive boost. So you can hit the description. You can get the bonus. Use your bonus money to bet Tom Kim at 40-1. Hell, I had bet him 35-1 before I got the boost.
All right.
Yeah. You're telling me Ryan Gerard is a better bet than Tom Kim when Tom Kim's the bigger number. That seems weird.
No, the book is just telling you that he's more popular.
Which seems strange, doesn't it? Why wouldn't people look at that and be like, man, I can bet a guy has won 3 times on tour, including this course, now at a course which is perfectly tailored to all of his skills: Bermuda putting, accuracy, and irons, and an all-world short game. I get. Like, the thing I don't understand about Gerard is, like, last week he had like an okay performance. His tee to green was awful. He putted the lights out. Wouldn't really like bank on Ryan Gerard. He's made all the putts at Memorial. He made all the putts last week. What do those 2 things have in common? Both bent grass greens.
Tom Kim has 4 wins, which is even more impressive.
That is
before
correct.
He turns 20.
He does.
He's 24. Yeah. More wins than Akshay. at 24.
Yeah, actually, he has the 3, doesn't he?
I think he has 3. I could be wrong there.
I see. I was going to count 4 because I had bet on him at the Rocket Classic, but then he 3-putted on the 72nd hole to lose it.
To Cam Davis of all things that year. Cam Davis is totally. I mean, it would be a great like off-season like show content would be like the top 10 like stolen victories of all time. That would be up there.
Long-time viewers know number 1. It's when I had like one of the very first weeks I started betting. I had bet Robert Garrigus at 250 to 1 to win the St. Jude, and he was up by 3 on the final hole and fucking duck hooked it over the water into wherever the fuck is on the other side of the water. They lost in a playoff to Harrison Frazier or Lee Westwood or something like that.
Remember we all thought like Harrison Frazier, Hudson Swafford, and Harris English were the same guy?
You can't convince me that they're not, because I haven't seen those other two in a while. Like, Swafford went to live. Are we sure about that? Did anyone see that?
Hey, what if Harris English and Hudson Swafford were the same guy, and Harris English was just collecting on both tours? Now that would be that's what the Hogard brothers should have done. One of them should have went to live, and the other one should have stayed on the tour, and then they could have switched whenever they want, depending on where they wanted to travel to. Nobody would know the difference.
That's a genius move. That is the move right there.
It's not like it's the Fitzpatricks. They don't look well. They're not twins either, but they don't look alike. Hogards could have totally worked that system.
So Tom Kim 40 to 1, Blades Brown 65 to 1. That is with 5 places. Bud Collie just win only at 80 to 1, and then I went with
Bud Collie.
Yeah,
Alabama Slammer.
So Bud Collie, I feel like rates out like this is a perfect Bud Collie course. Gets better when it's hard to hit in terms of fairways. Like if you have to be accurate, Bud Collie is very good at that. He is a very good iron player. He's an all-world around the green player, and he is either a top 5 putter in the field each week or a bottom 5 putter in the field each week. Even at the Wyndham Championship over the years, he's been that guy that he finally got the monkey off his back. He got a win. He had a really good Open Championship as well, contended for a while before fading on Sunday. I couldn't – so – although I didn't hit the winner last week, I felt like my read with Xander was correct, that he was just simply underpriced. Maybe it was a true price because no golf price is ever going to be like a good value. But Xander versus some of the guys that were above him and around him didn't make sense to me because he was such a better player than all those guys, albeit not having his best season. But talent-wise, it felt a bit low, especially for where we were betting him at stronger events early in the season. The thing I don't quite understand, and the number has been crushed a little bit, so maybe people are catching up to this as well. Yeah, you see Bud Collie's down to 65 right now. But Bud Collie opened at 80. That was the same number as Eric Cole and Matt Wallace, where you had guys like Mac Meisner at 45 to 1 and Doug Gim at 45 to 1. Not only is Bud Collie better than those guys, he's won within the last month.
And when you talk about trends, there's been a lot of multiple winners this year.
And now I see Chris Kirk at 80 to 1, so I'm probably going to bet that too.
Oh man, he can't putt.
I know.
I love betting Chris Kirk. I've won with him, and I love betting Chris Kirk. The guy is perfect for this place. If you just played tee to green.
You see, you say that though, but you kind of hit on this because you said maybe you would, if it was like all the guys showed up, it would be a comp to Augusta National. And I get that Cam Young turned into like a pretty good putter, but Cam Young wins. What's his bugaboo? He can't putt whatsoever. What's Aaron Rye's bugaboo? He can't putt. Lucas Glover? You're going to tell me Lucas Glover can make putts? No, but he won here. Kisner can putt. Herman can't putt. Poston can putt. Sneds can putt. Stenson's bad with his putter. C was bad with his putter.
Bad putter.
Sergio's a terrible putter.
Webb Simpson, bad putter. Carl Pedersen, bad putter. Kevin Kisner, okay, good on
Bermuda.
Good on Bermuda.
Tom Kim is either electric or the worst guy in the field. So I don't know. I don't think you have
Scott Hoke won here years ago.
Scott Hoke,
terrible putter. I can go deep in my brain.
2001. Rocco Mediate's a 2-time winner here. And someone named
I love Rocco.
Brent Gelberger was a winner here. That's a guy. Carl Pedersen.
That's not Brent Geiberger?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's
Al's son?
I've never heard of this guy, Brent, before. He beat someone named Michael Allen. That sounded like a good, fun year to show up in 2000.
Well, Al Geiberger's first guy to shoot 59.
No, but I don't know who Brent. I don't know who Brent is. I thought it was Brent Musburger for a second. Swedish porn king in 2008. Carl Peterson won here too.
Yeah, I mentioned him. Long putter. I mean, anyone that goes to long putter didn't do it because they were like, oh man, I'm going to make more putts with this thing.
Crazy. Well,
Yeah.
it worked for Adam Scott and Webb Simpson. They became disaster putters to like pretty good putters.
Yeah, but like nobody was a good putter and goes to the long putter, which is my point. You know,
Correct.
like, yeah, no way. No one was like, oh man, you know, I'm putting it better than Faxon. Let me go to this long broomstick because that's going to get better.
Here's a fun fact for you.
all right.
Mac Meisner, who was 50-1 to win this week, came second here last year. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
How about his brother?
What's his brother's name? Parker's the other Cootie.
No, he's another M name.
Yeah.
Oh golly, he's on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
Mitch, maybe.
We get the Cooties versus the Meisners. That's the match number 18 this winter coming at you.
Yeah. Put it up on the Creator Classic. Yeah, sure.
So I went with those. So JT, I was going to swing back to that one in a second. Tom Kim, Blades Brown, Bud Collie, Ben James, Luke Clanton, 125-1. I also bet Davis Chatfield and Brian Campbell to win because that's funny to me. And I can turn $20 into 10 grand betting on Brian Campbell.
Now, Davis Chatfield is a great, accurate driver of the golf ball and an incredible putter.
And his iron play he had a bad week at the Rocket, but previous to that, his iron play was spiking. And I just tried to find guys that if distance truly doesn't matter, if we're looking for the new school Brennan Todds of the world, Davis Chatfield is kind of that guy.
Yeah, I see that.
So playing with the 8 places, if he comes 7th, you're going to hit like a 50-1 or something like that.
Man, that'd be a hit.
It'd be nice. So those are the guys.
I'm going to run it back. I'm going to run it back with Davis Thompson. I used Davis Thompson last week. I'm going to run it back with him. And I'll give you one more. I'm going to go with bounce back Ben Griffin.
Okay.
I mean, these are guys that continue to play well at this golf course, and they're trending lately. So
to my roundabout point that I was using with Xander earlier, I ended up betting Justin Thomas at 30-1.
Yeah, if you're using that logic, sure.
Makes sense. And he has won at every other one of the courses that we just pointed out that like are the same as this course. Like these courses are his specialty. Weirdly, it's not like what you think, but like who's a better wedge player? Who's better around the greens? Who can get hot on Bermuda? It's him.
I don't know about the hot on Bermuda, but man, there is few people that can pitch and chip the ball like JT and hit their wedges. I mean, that guy is really, really good. Probably top 5 in the world at both of those two skill sets. And you need to do a lot of that here. The reason he's always good on short courses is that because he can play positional. He doesn't have to hit his driver.
Exactly.
And he's, early in his career, he was an impeccable fairway wood player. He was really, really good. I mean, think about that towering 3-wood he hit at an Erin Hills in 2017 to shoot whatever he shot, like 57 there that day in the US Open, 62. But, that was a really impressive shot. And he used to be able to do that all the time. JT makes sense on positional golf course. Always does. Bet him a million times on a positional golf course. And that's a good number, 30 for him.
Well, that was the whole thing. Like, because initially, like everyone this week open, I guess I was late to open it up, but there was a book laying a 40 on Hideki. Everyone bet that. And he opened at 28 in a bunch of places, and a lot of people bet that. He's down to, I'm seeing 18-1 on Hideki right now. And you're telling me Justin Thomas, who I get that the form, quote unquote, for Hideki is there, but I mean, just bet him to have the low round of Sunday and you'll win money. He'll be like 18 shots back going into it and come in 5th.
Yeah, Hideki's a trick. He's a good one and done pick for me this week, which means don't bet him to win because then he'll miss the cut. But,
so yeah, Thomas was sort of like Xander last week. Like seeing a 30 next to his name against this field, like where Ryan Gerard has lower odds than him. It's like, all right, maybe the hate has gone too far with Justin Thomas, and he's so streaky and spikes so much. He could just almost like he did at the Sony. So he's won at Sony, he won at PGA National, he won at Sawgrass, he won at Heritage. I mean, I think those 4 courses line up pretty well with here.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And
he's won East Lake.
Down here in the States, he's still showing 30. Multiple books.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing right now, too. I'm seeing the 30. So I bet the 30, and I have no real conviction on it. But when I think about skills, type of course, and then just see the number next to his name seems pretty jarring to me versus some of the guys. Listen, I like Koiven and everything. 17's a bit much for me.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Great course fit, too. Like putting, accuracy, wedges, it's all there for him. But
yeah,
let's pump the brakes a little bit, like you said a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Although I am kind of excited by some of these kids now that Thor broke through. Um, I don't know. I might just go like full scorched earth on the President's Cup team and send Brent an email and just say, hey, with your 6 captains picks, I want them all to be under the age of 25. I want Akshay, Koiven, Blades Brown. I want Thor. I want them all. I want to start grooming them for the Ryder Cup. That's all I care about.
Yeah, like,
You know?
Jeff and I went through it. I picked the team on Monday, and like it's very easy to put Koiven and Thorbjornsson on. It's like, sorry, Jacob Bridgman, you're not on the team.
Yeah, Jacob Bridgman's not on the team.
Yeah,
I mean,
Ben Griffin's not going to be on the team either, unless he's in on points. Then Spawn's not going to be on the team.
Medina, too. I don't know. I like Ben Griffin this week. He plays well here, putts Bermuda well. He's got the Carolina ties.
Yeah, I like when we get to Blickle a little bit later on for DraftKings. I like Ben Griffin on DraftKings a little bit more than betting him outright. Almost like Justin Thomas is probably a better outright bet in a one and done than he is a DraftKings play because he can go full JT on you here and miss the cut, but he's also apt to shoot 60 in the first round.
Speaking of which, first round leader, you got any leans?
Yeah, I got 4 of them.
Oh, talk to me. I got a couple.
Oh.
And then we got to talk one and done.
Yes, we do. So let me bring them up here. Where did I go? I have Brant Snedeker, 110 to 1. He's won on tour this year,
You know that everything he does, just like Webb Simpson, is exactly what you need to do here. He hits fairways. He's really good on Bermuda grass, chipping, putting. That's all you got to do.
I once lost a Ben Ann bet at this course where Ben Ann didn't make a bogey until the 71st hole of this tournament, and he still lost to Snedeker because Snedeker shot a 59 to open.
I remember that.
I will take that 59 this week, Brant, if you're out there listening. Just get it fired up. Davis Chatfield, 110 to 1. Brian Campbell, 160 to 1. And Blades Brown, 75 to 1.
Yeah, I think Blades Brown comes in just like blades flying.
I love to hear it.
I think so. Like he's what, like 8th on the Korn Ferry Tour money list, 6th or 7th or 8th, something like that.
Yeah, well, he's actually so here's the breakdown on Blades Brown. He's 9th actually on the Korn Ferry Tour standings right now. The top 20 get their tour card, so that's not secure for him. It's probably secure, but it's not for sure that it's secure. He should. Logic would dictate that he should be going to play on the Korn Ferry Tour this week, have another good performance, get inside like the top 5. No one can catch him. Lock up your tour card for next year. Everything's going to be fine. However, if he wins this week, he has enough FedEx Cup points built up as it is on the special temporary membership that he jumps into like the top 30 in the FedEx Cup and gets to keep those points in his tour card if he wins.
Not to mention the fact there's 6 more Korn Ferry Tour events after the Tour Championship. That guy loves the way he's playing right now, and he's like all gas, no break for us in Greensboro, and that's the type of player you want. A guy that's uber confident, who's not going to be afraid, and he's only there to do one thing, which is win, and he most likely, has the skill set prepared and ready to do it, and he feels good about it. Versus some of these guys like a Keegan Bradley that needs to move up 2 spots and like, what have you been doing for me all year? That sort of thing. It's like I said before, very few guys make the jump, whether it used to be into the top 125 or the top 100 and now the top 70. Very few guys make the jump. It's just very difficult to do when push comes to shove, because you have to have people play badly that are on the other side as well. And as we've already established, there's 6, I said 7 spots are available basically. So someone's got to be like under 77, 76, have like a top 10 week. And then you need somebody on the 65, 67 side to like have a, miss the cut, that sort of situation.
So with a win this week, Blades Brown jumps to number 46 in the FedEx Cup.
Oh, signature series. We'll be betting him we'll be betting him at every signature event next year. I love it.
We're just betting him this week too, then, so we can get some wins.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. I mean, just as soon as Thorbjornsson won, I just opened up, every book I can once the numbers were posted. I went right to the letter B.
Yeah,
and it works for the last name or the first name or the last name. Doesn't matter. I just needed the letter B.
I went to Clanton at the same time too. Like, you're just sneaking in there. He's actually playing better, which is nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, he made the cut in 1 week.
He was on the leaderboard for the first 6 holes on Sunday last week. He ended up coming T20. That was nice.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
I think I think about in the middle range on a first round leader. Some guys that I was thinking about were Aaron Rye or Mac Meisner. Basically, guys that play well on Thursdays and have some really good vibes at this golf course.
Could
Just
you
two
be
names.
a first round leader without a Wikipedia page? Would that earn you a Wikipedia page?
Do you have a Wikipedia page, Pat?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Now, I'd ask a viewer to make it for me, but it would be just full of nonsense and it would probably be very defamatory.
I keep record of all of the rapid fire questions. So, that's all it would be. It would be like, at this point, we're like 247 questions deep.
Well, let me give you some Luke Clanton love here, okay? Maybe I'll go with him.
All
I
right.
wonder what his first round leader is. Maybe I'll go with Clanton first round leader as well. He has actually gained on approach pretty significantly in 5 of his past 6 starts, which is helpful. He's gained off the tee in 3 of his past 4. He's gained around the greens in 3 of his past 4. And he finally gained with the putter last week. It's really been the putter for the Isco, the Corrales, and 3M. He's lost 3.5, 2.5, and 1 on the greens. These were the things that were keeping him from missing the cuts. And he missed 4 cuts in a row, but he gained 2 strokes on approach in the missed cut. So he's gaining a stroke per round. These are the numbers that I want to see. I just need to mix it with the spike putting week. And he had actually been putting well and not hitting his irons well or chipping well all year. Now it's kind of reversed. We can get him to catch up with the putter a little bit with this iron play. This is a type of course where you can do that.
Godspeed on your journey.
You're in. I feel like I've sold you. He was 5th here 2 years ago. Too.
I needed one young gun. Blades Brown is my man. That's where I'm going.
Oh, I got Jay. Who do I got? I got Tom Kim, Blades, Ben James, and Clanton. And I have no idea how old Davis Chatfield is. Let's pretend he's 21 years old. It's probably like 38.
No, he's a kid. Hang on, he's in his 20s.
Who's the really tall guy? Who won?
Christo Lamprecht.
No. The guy who just won on to Corn Ferry. Jackson Coyvin's buddy. Tommy Morrison, I think his name is. Or is that the guy from Rocky Five?
Yeah. Tommy Morrison from the Walker Cup. Davis Chatfield, 27 years old.
All right, so he's too old. Cash out.
Yeah.
One and done. I went with JT and Tom Kim across my teams.
I've got Tom Kim. I've got Hideki. I've got Koiven. I've got Blades Brown.
That tracks.
I don't know. Something like that. Something in that range. Depends whose week I want to curse. I think that's what it comes down to in 2026. Who do I like the least? And that's all I'll drop it on.
Do you have questions for me?
No golf questions?
Yeah, you went through the Bermuda stuff and reading the green and that kind of thing and leading with the edge. So when I do if I go to Florida next year, it'll be very helpful for me.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, when it comes to reading the green on Bermuda greens, what I meant, and I said anecdotally earlier, is that when you putt and you go walk up to the hole when you're on Bermuda greens, about half of the hole is going to be tore up or ripped. And the other half is going to be like pristine, like you see up north or out west when they mow the greens in the morning. And that rip comes from the green. And what you know then is that the ball is going to break more toward the rip. So depending on where you sit on the green, and as you're putting towards the hole, plan for more break toward that jagged edge. So if the jagged edge is away from you, that means you're going down grain. If the jagged edge is on the close side, that means you're going into the grain. And then, if it's on the left or the right, depending on which way the putt is breaking, it could exacerbate break or it could minimize break. So if you use that as a rule of thumb, to all of our Bermuda grass putters, God bless you all. It's the worst grass in the world to play golf on. Especially this time of year in the summer where it's like super nappy and spongy and the humidity has it all like standing up straight and really grainy. Putt to the rip and you'll be much happier with your strokes gained putting stats for the remainder of the 2026 season.
Did you play on the golf team at Holy Cross?
I did not. No, I did not. True story about me. I actually played lacrosse. I played Division I.
Yeah, you played that lacrosse they play in America that's like outside on a soccer field, right? It's not real lacrosse. Come on. Box lacrosse is what we're talking about here. That's real lacrosse.
The reason that you guys play box lacrosse in Canada, which, by the way, most people don't know this, the national sport of Canada is lacrosse.
That has changed. That has been officially changed by the government. The official summer sport of Canada is lacrosse. Hockey is now the official winter sport. But you were correct. For the longest time,
That's so gutless.
I agree.
The only reason you guys play box lacrosse up there is because it's frozen half the year. So they forced you guys to go inside. Now you're bringing me back. You're bringing back up my senior prom again. You just jam everything inside, right? Here's what you got to do. Field lacrosse is one of the most violent sports in the world.
Country club lacrosse is what we like to call it.
Oh, okay. Yep. Well,
Hey,
I did happen to
you
play
can finish your lacrosse game and play some polo.
Hey, my junior golf days are far before Tiger Woods, so it wasn't the coolest thing in the world to do. I had good hand-eye coordination. They were both spring sports, so I played lacrosse. I was good enough at it to get recruited and play Division One. Played a ton of golf too, and then as soon as I got done, helped me get into school, and once I was done with that, then I went back to playing golf all the time, which was great.
So what was the transition like going from you being from Jersey, going to, I'm sure you played golf when you were up in the Northeast playing lacrosse in college, like from time to time, and then going to Florida all the time? Like how long did it take you to transition to that type of grass?
So I go down in 98, the winter of 98 for my first winter, down to Orlando, and I'm going to work at Isleworth, and we go out and we start playing golf on Bermuda grass. And I'd only done it on vacations prior to that. So it was like very sparingly. And at that point I didn't understand how high level golf was. I probably didn't really understand at that time how high level golf was played, but I was playing very, very well. And I just couldn't figure out the greens, and then I couldn't chip. And I was like, what is going on? And they're like, it's Bermuda grass. And I was like, explain all of this to me. And then people went in depth and they explained it to me. And, that kind of sunk in. It's just a different way of playing golf. And if you grow up on that, it's a huge advantage to someone who has not played on it, because the club just doesn't work in certain ways. And then all of a sudden, if you don't know how to read the greens with grain, especially later in the day, certain putts that look like they're going to break, but they're against the grain, so then they don't break, and then vice versa. Or you'll putt one down grain and you're like, you didn't know it was down grain. Next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, I didn't hit that hard, and it's like 6 feet by the hole. So there was definitely a huge learning curve there to play, to try to play professional golf, but play tournament golf on a brand new set of grass that I had really no experience with. And this is way before Tiff Eagle and all these different hybrid strains and everything they came out with. I mean, everything was just that nappy mess of a weed that you see all the time, that at the old school PGA Tour courses, or when people go down to resorts, and there's the really nice course, and then there's the secondary course, and that one's all straight Bermuda, and you're like, oh the God, this is the worst.
Got questions for me?
Always. All right, ready?
Let's do it.
We talked about there being about 2 or 3 guys that get through this week. Give me 2 guys that are over, number 70 in the FedEx Cup ranking that get through.
Now I need to look at the standings, because I was going to pick 2 guys who might actually be in at this point. Blades Brown wins and gets in. We'll go with that one.
I like that.
And we will take... I think Keegan gets himself in, honestly. He played a lot better last week. Good Ross player, too.
Yeah, I think he needs his iron play has been really good lately. He needs a top 40 in order to get in.
I wish there was a point last week where Michael Brennan was projected to go to 48th, and I think he's still 114th now. 105th. Nice week, pal.
You need a break. You need at least a month break from Michael Brennan.
Listen, I went with him at driver heavy courses where you need to be long and straight. The one thing he does well, and he did not do it. It was the worst driving week of his career last week. That was before the OB.
Which is actually promising if you like to bet, or you like to, you love Michael Brennan. I know that, right? So it's promising that the other parts of his game are getting better, and that he could contend that far without his superpower. I mean, that's pretty promising.
It reminds me of Cam Champ has 3 wins on the PGA Tour. People forget about this. And all the weeks outside of, I think Sanderson, he did it. Or it was maybe Napa, he just drove the shit out of the ball and no one could keep up with him. But the other 2 wins that he had were spike putting weeks, not huge driving weeks.
Name a place outside of North America that you would love to visit on a vacation.
Tokyo.
Oh, wow. All right.
Or Sydney. Sydney or Tokyo.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about Australia being a lot of fun. I want to get to Australia soon.
Well, they're our cousins in the Commonwealth. If there's 2 countries that are very similar, it's Canada and Australia. Or if you talk to New Zealanders, the Kiwis will tell you that the Australians are the Americans of down there, and the New Zealanders are Canadians.
Wow. I got a lot more out of that question than I thought. Good deal. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate Sedgefield Country Club as a PGA Tour venue.
8.
If you were a teacher, like in school, what subject and what grade would you teach?
I'd probably teach 12th grade math.
Oh, high level math, like calculus?
Yeah.
All right. Give me a long shot name from the 6K range. This is a perfect transition for you and Bickle. Who could finish in the top 20 this week?
Well, you, sir, will hear a whole lot more if you stay tuned with Alex Blickle and myself about Davis Chatfield this week and how much Blickle just gives me weird looks the entire time.
All right. Roller coasters, yes or no?
Yeah, I can do them. Just don't look down.
Which favorite is going to pull a Jake Knapp this week?
Hideki.
Oh, that would be a bomb because there's a lot of Hideki. I mean, has Hideki ever won when Hideki has been trending?
This has been a discussion all week. No is the answer.
It's not even been close. I mean, anytime his number is like under 50, it's like kryptonite. It's terrible. What'd you have for lunch today?
I barbecued ground turkey and made it into a burger and cut up small potatoes and air fried them and had those with roasted carrots.
Man, look at you go. All right, then who wins the Wyndham? Blades Brown or somebody else?
Nah, it's probably going to be Tom Kim. So Tom Kim 40-1 at Cool Bet right now. If you want all of Keith's picks, remember, hit the description, sign up for the Read the Line free newsletter along with the free Mayo Media newsletter. We'll have a recap of all of my picks and anything else that I add along with the weather reports, DFS ownership. It's all going to be there. Also, follow Keith on X at KJ Stewart PGA. And we shall return here in a minute with Alex Blickle to break down the entire DraftKings slate, so stay tuned. Buying a car is a big deal, and the last thing you want to do is spend endless hours clicking through filters only to come up empty. That's why I like Car Gurus. You can actually describe what you're looking for in your own words. Say you want something that's reliable, good on gas, with low mileage, and under 20 grand. Just type that in, and Guru instantly shows you real available listings that match what you need. And once you've found a few options, Car Gurus makes it easy to compare them side by side. With more than 4 million listings, Car Gurus has the biggest selection of cars, so it's easier than ever to find the right car and the right deal for you. They also offer more transparent pricing, letting you see when dealer fees are included so you can compare listings with greater confidence. It's no wonder Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Huh? Buy or sell your car today at cargurus.com. That's CARGURUS.com. Summer's almost over, and I'm looking into next year, trying to figure out what block of the schedule can I take a vacation, and then whether or not I can actually afford it. That's why I like having everything organized ahead of time. When I know exactly where my money's going, I can book a trip, enjoy the winter, enjoy the summer, just not stress about my finances afterwards. Monarch is the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, saving goals, and most importantly, spending, or at least for me, it's the spending. Get your first year of Monarch Core half off, just $50 with promo code PATMAYO. That's me. What I like most about Monarch is the monitoring it does for me. The AI weekly recap flags spending spikes before they become habits, and the cash flow view makes it really easy to see where my money's actually going each month. It's nowhere good, I'll tell you that. It's basically like having a financial advisor in your pocket, which I appreciate because my old financial advisor, very expensive and not very good. Use code PATMAYO at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off, just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PATMAYO. As promised, we are talking DraftKings. Alex Blickle on the line with me. Sign up to Blickle's Discord because he's got a bunch of good stuff going on over there. You can still get in for this price before he goes off on his own. Hit the description and go do that. You had a splits column in there today, which basically says that Brian Harman's the greatest play of all time.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So every week now over at blickanalytics.com, we'll definitely check that out. Doing splits and essentially like what I'm looking for is splits that are actually predictive success in the past. So looking at that predictive value, one of them that really stands out this week is just looking at similar golf courses to Sedgefield, specifically in the fit off the tee. So this is one of the least predictive courses for driving distance, one of the most predictive courses for our strokes gained driving accuracy metric. And if you just look at similar courses in that regard, Brian Harman goes from a player who's like, would you call him like maybe a slightly above average player in this field to legitimately an elite player. And the way that I will quantify this is I use what I call boom rates and blow up rates. And boom is defined as gaining 3.3 strokes to the field in a round. A blow up is defined as losing 1.7. I use these cutoffs because they both create like an equal frequency of booms and blowups from the actual relevant players week to week. So it turns out Brian Harman is pretty close to average in that regard. He booms 15% of the time, blows up 17% of the time. On these kinds of golf courses, his boom rate goes to 28% and his blow up rate drops to 11%. And if you ask yourself then, okay, well, what kind of player typically booms 28% of the time and only blows up 11%? The answer is nobody in this field. The best boom rate baseline for anyone in this field is Cam Young at 23%. And there are only 3 guys with a better baseline blow up rate than that in split Harman rate. So it's crazy, like just how good he has been on this type of golf course.
I'm shocked he hasn't had more success at this golf course. And what other courses were a part of that where accuracy, if I can guess, I'm guessing Sawgrass is one of them.
Sawgrass is one of them.
Harbour Town.
Harbour Town is one of them.
Colonial.
I don't think Colonial. I think it's TBC Twin Cities is definitely on there. Summerlin, I think, is on there. And I think it was a total of 7 golf courses. So we're missing a couple, but I can't remember exactly which ones they are. Actually, Sedgefield, is certainly one of them as well. So that's in the split, because the way the split works is I'm not looking at just like overall past performance on a golf course compared to past baseline. Like I'm actually going week by week and saying, hey, in this week, based on his recent form, based on everything, this is what his expectation was. Did he play above or below expectation that week? So it's a bit of a more predictive process than what I think is out there in a lot of different places, and it's been working really well.
I like this. So he's played this tournament 7 times. His best finish is T6. He has no other top 20s, and he generally loses off the tee and on approach here, which you would not expect from a course like this. So I guess my question would be that some of the courses that you looked at, so let's take Summerlin, for example. I've played Summerlin a few times, so I have a bit of experience with it. I've been to this course. Obviously, Poston has done well at both. He's played well at the Players. He's played well at the Heritage. There are some guys that kind of cross over to all of these courses. But there's no immediate danger off the fairway at this course, outside of the fact is that you can no longer control your spin from the rough, and these greens are really difficult, which is what I think sets this apart and actually makes it a little bit more like, obviously you want to be hitting the fairways. If you don't, then you're not going to be able to do that. But you're not getting like blow up penalties like you would at the 3M.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I'd also point to like one of the other guys who really pops in this split is Hideki Matsuyama, which
Makes
was
no
very
sense.
Yeah, right. Because when you think about like, okay, well, who's probably going to produce really well on this type of golf course, you think of guys who are accurate off the tee. But let's also remember that part of projecting, how well someone's going to play is the course fit. And so theoretically, that should already be baked into their expectation. And so we're talking about guys who are performing like above and beyond that expectation on these golf courses. And so with Hideki, I think what we're seeing with him specifically is when you go back and you look at like, okay, where has he driven the ball the worst? Where has he lost the most strokes per round? It's not necessarily golf courses where like the missed fairway penalty is highest. It's where driving distance is the most predictive of success. And so I think what's happening there is Hideki is trying too hard to keep up from a speed perspective with everybody else, and that he just swings better and plays better when he gets to a golf course where he feels like he can just play his own game, swing within his own swing, and not try to force anything from a speed perspective. And so maybe there's something to that. And then I think there's also an element of like, typically when you get a golf course where distance is not predictive and accuracy is really predictive, you also get like this hidden signal of, well, who's just better at laying up off the tee and making sure they're, number one, making the right decision there. And then number two, some guys are going to have more control hitting a hybrid off the tee or a 3-iron off the tee than some others in a way that doesn't totally follow this typical strokes gained driving accuracy metric.
So I threw my model up on betspertsgolf.com inside the rabbit hole underneath expert report. If you want to pull that up, I got it here right now. And just the first column I had was driving accuracy. So I weighted that at 15%. And it could be rudimentary, but we just scan the top 13 on this list, or you scan the top 12 on this list. It's just guys that play well at this course, including former winners like Aaron Rye and Lucas Glover. I'm shocked Griot hasn't had more success here, but then at the top you got Coles, Chatfield, Ben James, Zach Blair, Brian Campbell, who's, as I spoke with Keith and on the Monday show, there's no better bet this week, Blickle, than Brian Campbell, first round leader, after he gained 9 strokes on approach and somehow lost 6 putting. That doesn't normally happen to him.
That's not his usual game. So yeah, I like that call. I'd also say that's a couple guys now that you've mentioned, that typically you would think of as fitting the golf course, but they don't have a great history here. It reminds me, Josh Culp tweeted earlier today, basically saying like before Henrik Stenson won here, he had a really bad history at this golf course, even though I'm sure he was really good on those accuracy dependent courses. So would have popped in those splits. And he's also somebody who had a ton of success on Donald Ross courses. So Donald Ross courses being another one of the splits that I'm looking at this week. And so essentially what I'm saying here is I just think, like, as always, I'm going to trust the fit more than the specific course history, because course history is built on such a small sample.
Okay, so who other than Brian Harman rated out well in doing that?
I don't know compared to their course history, because I don't even look at course histories. Like, I couldn't tell you.
Just in general, who rated out well on that list when you looked at the crossover course fits?
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to go Harman. We're going to go Doug Gim, JT Poston, a couple guys who I would say are kind of irrelevant, so I won't even mention them. Sungjae Im, Tom Kim, certainly somebody worth noting. Keegan Bradley, Tom Hoagie, Brian Campbell. There he is, one of your guys. So again, like, really like that call. And yeah, so like the other thing that I'll point out here is, outside of Tom Kim, everybody on this list is under $9,000 on DraftKings, which fits like another one of the patterns that I often talk about, which is course fit. These splits, they're always more important to me for the cheaper players, because the better players can play well anywhere. And what we're looking for is the guys who really have weaknesses to their game, which is why they're not as effective typically on the PGA Tour. But they get to a golf course where that weakness is really kind of diminished by the course, and the strength of their game is really enhanced by it.
Well, good news. Sungjae gained strokes on approach at the Rocket Classic for the first time since the Valspar earlier on this season. And this would be a course, there used to be like the Sungjae flow chart. Like, is it a par 70 or a par 71? Is it below 7,200 yards? Is it on Bermuda greens? Is accuracy important? If you had all those checks, like, just lock in Sungjae. Now it's a bit different, it feels like. But if he's found something, anything with his irons, I feel like you can go to him.
Yeah, and it's 2 of the last 3 now, including the Open Championship, where he gained, like, we're saying he gained 0.09 per round at the Open and then 0.27 at the Rocket. So it's not like he had this phenomenal approach week. But when you compare that to losing a full stroke per round, like he's done so much in the last 2 years, really, at this point, just being ordinary in that category is certainly great for him. It's similar to, guys like Doug Gim or Kevin Yu or Kurt Kitayama that we talked about. Like, if they can just be neutral for 1 week with the putter, there's a good chance they're in contention. It's the same thing with Sungjae. It's just, if he can just be neutral with the irons, there's a good chance he's in contention.
I feel the same way about Tom Kim this week. Obviously, I bet Tom Kim. He's the Cool Bet boost. I got him up to 40-1 over there. If anyone wants it, at coolbet.com, hit the description, get yourself that bonus that if he just putts, he's fine. Like that's his. Bud Collie is weirdly kind of the same thing. I went back because I bet Bud Collie as well and went through his splits, and he seems like the prototypical player for the Wyndham Championship. He's accurate when fairways become very important to hit. We've seen that at different accuracy places with him over the years. He's a very good iron player. He has some of the best hands on tour. It's just he either puts the lights out or sucks on the greens. And like, if you go back and look at his past 5 starts, he's either gained over 4.5 strokes putting in 2 or lost at least 3 in the other 3. And his Wyndham Championship, 5 starts is absolutely no different. He's gained 6 and 5 and then lost 5 and 6. It's weird.
It is weird, and it's fun for outrights, right? Like, you want the guys who are spiking that much, and certainly he fits that bill. He's spiking, and Cheetah Green, he's really solid. I think he's a good call. And I also, by the way, have a Tom Kim outright. I only have 2 this week. He's one of them.
Who else? You said Sungjae. Okay, so let's throw up a lineup. I threw in Davis Chatfield because I'm sure he probably spikes on this list. But we can throw in Brian Campbell since he appeared on your list. Here's your course fit data lineup if you want one. Brian Campbell, Brian Harman, Tom Kim, Keegan Bradley, Hideki, and Sungjae. It leaves $300 on the table.
Yeah, this is a fun one. I think I think some of these guys are going to be somewhat popular, but I don't think they're all going to be popular. I don't have a great read yet on ownership, but this looks strong to me, and I'm always in favor of a skill set stack. So I definitely like this lineup.
Keegan coming off a sneaky good week at the Rocket as well. It was kind of buried that his short game really wasn't up to snuff, but he gained a ton of strokes on approach.
It's good to see, right? Like he really was not playing good golf to start the season. I definitely think, as he himself has said, like he was bothered. He was carrying the weight of the Ryder Cup with him for a lot of the season. And it took him until like late spring into the summer to really feel like he could just get back to playing golf again. And his approach play has been awesome for the last few months. The driver is coming back. The speed is there too, by the way. Like I'm not sure many players have made a larger gain in distance versus the field from the first half of this season to the second half of this season, or at least like the last quarter of this season, than Keegan. And yeah, if the around the green game just is back to his usual strength, then last week that's a top 5 finish, no problem for him. So I like the Keegan call for sure.
Yeah, take a look at this ball speed over his past 4 starts. Like he was up to 178, 179 from previous in the year, 172, 173, 173. It's almost a 6 mile per hour difference in ball speed from what we saw earlier on in the year.
That's crazy. I don't really have a way to explain it, because like is Keegan just at home doing speed training throughout the season, or what? Maybe there was something. Some kind of injury that we just didn't know about, and now he's feeling really good.
That's interesting. So betspertsgolf.com, you can go in. That's one of the new features that we've put in, is that you can like search all those on the players' actual pages now. And one of the big things that we're working on over, I guess there is no off season because we're going to have the fall swing, but during that time, and I think this is really important and something that we've all been trying to work on and figure out how to do, is whenever you create a model, you can have the option to put it versus the baseline of each of the players, which I think is very helpful, which is essentially what you were just talking about.
Yeah, that's the way I do every single model, because like otherwise everything you do just tells you, hey, play the better players, right? Yeah. So I want to know who's going to outperform their expectations, because the thing is, like, basically everybody building models on BetSperts, in the Rabbit Hole, or basically anywhere like Fantasy National, whatever. Those people are also then using projection models from whatever site that they subscribe to. And the thing that those people should realize is the projection models already know how good a player is. You're already getting a very good estimate of who the player is, just like what his typical skill level is, even some course fit. And the signal that you're looking for when you go and you build your own models is, okay, well, how much better is he going to be this week on this course than his expectation? How much more likely is he to give me one of those ceiling performances relative to his usual ceiling frequency? And you don't get that if you're not comparing everything to baseline. So I love that that functionality is coming to it as well.
What do we think about ownership here? Is it just going to be stack Cam Young, stack Jackson Coyven? Because you can do that pretty easily.
I think Cam Young is going to be extremely popular. It definitely, like in my own projections and the projections I'm seeing around the industry, there is a separation between Cam and the rest of the field in the way that he projects. So I think because the separation in projection is so much greater than the separation in price, I think he'll be like a minimum of 30% in single entries, maybe even 40, 50%, depending on just how crazy people want to get there. Beyond that, it's a pretty strong-ish field, at least for like what you could have. Obviously, anybody who is, in any sort of doubt whatsoever for their status for the FedEx Cup playoffs is playing this week. So you really only get guys who are in like the top 30 and know that they're locked in. Right. So because of that, you're going to see, essentially what I should say here is, because DraftKings priced this like a regular non-signature event, but the field outside of the top 10, 15 guys is really, really strong, you just get so many options at basically every price point that you're going to feel good about. And because of that, I think ownership should be fairly spread out through most of the price ranges. So I think Cam's going to be extremely popular. Outside of that, I don't have a great read on anyone. I think there's just going to be like a lot of guys who get a decent amount of ownership. So like in the 8K range, for example, I think we're going to see a decent amount on Rye, Alex Fitzpatrick, Michael Brennan, Davis Thompson, Brian Harman. Like a lot of these guys should have a decent amount of ownership, but I don't think anyone outside of Cam is going to be crazy owned.
So if you were to pay, who do you think that the most common match is going to be for Cam? Is it going to be Koivu at 10-1 because you still have 73, make that work easily? Or is it just the very easy Hideki Cam Young? Because Hideki's been bet down from 40-1 to 15-1 or something like that. People love Hideki this week, which I would caution. I'm not going to lie to you. I know he fits well, but a lot of his success has come from completely out of contention on Sundays and having a fire round.
And not only that, but like he's a volatile player. So anytime he's chalky, he definitely approach with some caution. The other thing too is like he's finished 3rd and 5th in his last 2 events, but it's not like he's done the same things well. He was unbelievable, just like incredibly unsustainably good on and around the greens. He gained 2 strokes per round with his short game at the 3M Open. He's probably the best short game player in the world, but nobody gains more than like 0.4 per round. So that was just a crazy anomaly. His approach play was not good that week. And then he gets to the Rocket Classic and the approach play was awesome. And so I think it feels a little bit chasey to me, but as you said, the fit is really good. So from an ownership perspective, I don't think Hideki will be crazy owned. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Gerard or Tom Kim is actually the chalk of the 9K range instead.
I would guess it's Tom Kim, but I can see a lot of people just leading there. Maybe Tom Kim ends up getting that extra boost because people will have this $300 savings to go from Hideki to Tom Kim in Cam Young lineups. But so many people are going to start their lineups with Hideki that only makes sense. I think that he gets paired up, or the 3 of them get paired up, because you can do that very easily as well. You go Gerard, Tom Kim, Hideki. You got the same amount as you did if you went Cam and Koivu.
Yeah, I also think then you get down to the 7K range and Doug Im, Sungjae Im, both coming off really nice weeks. As you mentioned, like everyone's going to see that Sungjae wasn't awful with the approach play last week, and that's 2 of the last 3 where he wasn't awful, and that's going to look like a really nice price to a lot of people. So I think those guys could get ownership. Hisatsune is where's he now? 7,300. So I think he could get some ownership.
Yeah, you can go Griot, Michael Kim, Bud Call. I think I don't think that one name here at the bottom really sticks out, because I'd be fine with going with Poston. I mean, Poston's a bit trickier. Chris Kirk's probably in better form coming in. Dude just can't putt, which is an issue. Man, look at our poor Seb Straka. 7,300 in this field. He's like 11th in the FedEx Cup or something stupid.
It's crazy. By the way, how jealous was Shane Lowry that he didn't think of the cold shank as soon as he touches the lead like Chris Kirk was able to do.
That's something new. Well, they got rid of all the water at Detroit. They plowed it over with fescue. It's like, well, there's nowhere to hit it. Like, this is what we need to do. Mm-hmm. All guys that compete at the Honda Classic every year too, like in the mix. I guess Lowry's not a former winner, but Chris Kirk is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like Lowry's jealous of that one. He thought that he had a monopoly over just the really like crazy fast ejections as soon as you touch the lead, but apparently not. Apparently, Chris Kirk's right up there with him.
All right, let's try to guess some ownership of guys that are there any guys do you think below 7,500 that you would avoid because of ownership? I don't see any that stick out because it does feel like it's going to be spread out a little bit.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. It's like I don't see anyone coming close to 20% or something like that. And so if someone's down at like 10%, I'll use that as a tiebreaker. Like if I can't decide between 2 guys and one's 5%, one's 10%, give me the 5% guy. But if there's someone at 10% that rates out really well in the projections and has really good splits, I'm going to play that guy regardless of the ownership. So yeah, I'm with you there. I don't think we need to avoid anyone down here just because of ownership. Because again, like look how many players there are in the 7K range. It wasn't that long ago where at the Open Championship, there were like 9 guys total in the 7K range. And now we have like, there might be 9 at 7,000 flat this week. And then another 9 at 71 and then another 7 at 72 or something like that. So there's just so many options down here. Nobody can possibly get that high owned.
I didn't realize Matt McNeely was even in this field. Cantlay's not in, but that's what you just said about the 7K ranges, but the 10K and 9K ranges. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys above $9,000. They're all outside of probably Justin Thomas, Ben Griffin, and Matt McNeely. They're all going to kind of get ownership. Like people are going to go back to Koivu, as they should.
Yeah, 100%. It's another one of those weeks where I actually just redid all of my GPP scores for this exact reason, where DraftKings keeps giving us this pricing where like everyone's funneled to the top and you can just fit so many of the guys at the top that the old way I was doing the GPP scores was just saying like all of the expensive guys are overowned and all the cheap guys are underowned. And so I needed a way to kind of like recalibrate it. So all of that is now in place as well over on my site and in my Discord. So that's been helpful as well. And it tells this exact story. Like it now actually can separate. Okay, well, even though they're all popular, it's Jackson Koivu who's the best spend up, or it's Cam Young who's the best spend up. And previously it was just like it wasn't actually giving that information. So I like that change, and it makes us more equipped to handle this kind of pricing, because apparently this is what DraftKings wants to give us each and every week now.
So I ended up betting Justin Thomas, just former Sony winner, former Heritage winner, former Players champ, and if he just went nuclear and shot minus 25 at this course, I wouldn't be super stunned. As long as he can hit some fairways, he's going to be dominant here. If he can roll a putter, and it just felt like once he got beyond 30-1 in this field, it's like, all right, the guy's still good. Well, let's pump the brakes a little bit here.
Yeah, the outright too, because like the issue with JT is that the downside can and does happen to him. But when you're betting an outright, you're just saying like, well, if he's got his A game this week, there are like 3 or 4 other guys in the field who could possibly beat him. And that's a really nice place to be when you're getting the number that you're getting on JT.
What can I get? Oh, back up to 9,900. I can't quite get up to. I wonder if I can get up to Koivu here. Who would I have to lose? I want to keep. I love Blades Brown this week. Like, who doesn't love Blades Brown, right? He's
talented, man.
He is built for DraftKings scoring.
Oh my God, absolutely. Also, like I think he deserves a lot of credit for the kind of way that he has handled this schedule, because it takes like real thought to figure out, okay, should I be playing KFT events? Should I be playing PGA Tour events? The way that he's done it, like when he plays the Korn Ferry Tour, he has to play well. And 5th place, 6th place in his last 2 events, like he's just doing what he needs to do. It's been really impressive, and so I'm definitely interested there.
Yeah, I bet him as well to win this week. And well, the big thing with him coming in, and I guess I talked with Keith a little bit about this earlier, is that he's now top 10 in KFT coming off those back-to-back top 6 finishes. But if he wins this week at the Wyndham, he gets himself into the playoffs because he's a special temporary member. Only a win can get him his card. So why not take he could essentially lock up his tour card with another good finish on KFT, but he probably has that anyway. Why not come to Greensboro, try to win, get into the playoffs, and never have to worry about this stuff again?
Yeah, it's really cool. And not only that, but like I'm not really in the camp of you need to see a golf course to be able to play it well, but it's not a bad idea to play the course where maybe next year, like this is an extremely important week for him to get into the playoffs again. And he's got his tour card locked up, but now he wants to get into the top 50 and get into the signatures, whatever the new status is going to look like. And so just having experience on this golf course and feeling what it's like to compete when trying to get into the FedEx Cup, I think can't possibly hurt him. So good for him. And like I said, I think he's handled this season extremely, extremely well. And I think it also shows that like he's got a pretty good just kind of team around him as well.
All right, so let's try to figure out some guys if people want to go dumpster diving. I've mentioned Davis Chatfield. I like him better than Brian Campbell, but they're both at 63 and $6,200. Is there anyone else in this 6K range that you actually do like Chandler Phillips maybe at 66? He seems to be pretty popular.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going like all the way down to 63 like you did with Chatfield, but the two that stand out the most to me are Chris Ventura coming off a nice week and William Mouw. They definitely have the best projections for me down here, and let me see if they have any good splits as well. Mouw's accuracy splits look pretty good, and who's the other one I said? Ventura.
Yeah, so here's Chatfield. Like, he had a bad week at the Rocket, obviously just across the board. But before that, a T16, T34, T5, albeit a different style of events. That's okay, though. Like, the ISCO was a spot where you had to be accurate, and accuracy is something he actually does quite well. as you can see, like the accuracy, last 8 rounds, 82%. And these are, for the season, he's at 71%. He just can't hit the ball anywhere, which, would be an issue at some places. But as you mentioned, not an issue here, right?
Yeah. And with Ventura, the nice thing is his accuracy splits don't look great, but he's got great Donald Ross splits. Certainly that's fueled in part by just last week's performance, but that's nice to see as well. So
yeah,
both of these guys
hold on.
have
How much of Sunday did you watch with Chris Ventura?
I watched a decent amount.
Can he hit a wedge? My answer would be no.
Certainly not when he's under that kind of pressure, it seems. But,
it was he and Brennan got into the just someone put a candle next to them and they just melted away.
Yeah, but for the week, his wedge play was pretty solid. Approach play was solid, and that was an outstanding driving week for him. And obviously, Sedgefield is another golf course where you're going to need to be able to drive the ball well. As you said, like you totally lose control of the ball if you're missing fairways, let alone if you're blocked out by trees. So if he can continue that driving, you're getting a huge bargain in the 6Ks with Ventura.
Okay, so let's try to give our quick picks here because we're only doing the whoa, there goes part of the background. Didn't expect that to happen. Here we go. Poor James Bond hitting the ground. I mean, that happens from time to time in those movies. I can't wait till we see a new one. So the quick picks on DraftKings, I like this idea of starting with Koivu, having Tom Kim because I like Kim a lot, and I think that Justin Thomas is just going to be under-owned, and I like his upside. I'm willing to gamble that away even in a single entry, a 3 max, and it gets me off the 40% Cam Young. And in a single entry, he's probably going to be like 50%, like you said. If that's what I'm going against, I'm really fading a Cam Young top 3 finish, and if one of my guys wins, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and that's the thing with golf, right? Like we've talked about this before. It's not like NFL DFS, which is right around the corner when you fade a 40% running back, and it's like he's 5 times more likely to succeed than he is to fail. Cam Young's missed cut odds are higher than his top 10 odds. That's just golf. If you're anyone other than Scotty Scheffler, so I will probably be with you on the Cam Young fade as long as he's anywhere near as popular as we both seem to believe that he will be. And for my first quick pick, I will go Brian Harman.
All right, so you like Brian Harman a lot. So let's see if we can work this in here. So I said I like Koivu. I'm iffy on, but if Cam Young is just going to be that owned, then obviously Koivu, he maybe gets to 20%. Who knows? But I do like Tom Kim the best. We'll throw in Justin Thomas. You like Brian Harman, and then we get down into that 65 range where you got to use like Mouw and Chatfield. Is how this ends up.
There you go. That works. I don't want to be blamed for Chatfield, but I can get on board with it.
So last week, where I didn't do a DraftKings show, I kind of forgot to set DraftKings lineups. So I only made one lineup. Fucking Jake Knapp, man, absolutely scumbagged me. I had such a good lineup. I had because Xander was just like not owned at all. So I had Xander, Brennan, Kevin Roy. So what I've started to do with a lot of these single entry lineups is basically just identify one 6K guy I really like in the lower end, but like especially in these style of events where it's a strong field, but it's not really a strong field. Like anyone can kind of make the cut and go through it and just take one of those guys and load up the other 5. And it doesn't need to be the very best guys because obviously I didn't have Cam Young a week ago, but if I just used Cantlay instead of Knapp, who I think was the same price, it just would have been covered in money.
Yeah, I like that thought. Well, let me ask you this. What is it about Chatfield that you really like this week?
I just like that he's trending in the right way. I don't think that the Rocket was a great layout for him because of his lack of distance. I even put this out when I looked at the ball speed from last week. It wasn't as pronounced as, let's say, Scotland or Houston, but 8 of the top 10 in ball speed all made the cut. You had 3 top 10s, first, second, third, and I guess 4th and 5th were all inside the top 30 in ball speed. That's not his game. It'd be like if Brian Campbell had a really good week over there as well, that there are certain courses where it's not that you have to hit it far at that tournament because you did need a modicum of accuracy. We saw that on Sunday for sure after it rained and you couldn't get it out of the rough. But by and large, most of the week you could hit it into the rough and it was no problem. Here, you just don't need to hit that. You can just hit fairways and you're absolutely fine. Instead of having 98 yards in, you have 134 yards in. It's like not a big deal with these guys.
Yeah, to your point, he also went into last week with really strong iron performance, and the putter was kind of hot. So obviously, like I don't love that he didn't have that last week, but I can see where you're coming from, where he's building towards just like looking like a totally different player than what his long-term numbers look like. So when you're down at the $6,300 range, you probably can't find anything better than that type of hypothesis for a player. So I can get on board down there if you need someone that low. Like he's not someone that I'm going to go and prioritize.
So what I would do here with the lineup that you just built, because we'll get to some of my favorite plays here. I really like Blades Brown, so I'm going to work in Blades Brown. I'll take out Harman because, screw Harman. We don't quite have enough is the issue. I was going to try to get to Bud Collie because there's no one at 72 that I love, which ends up becoming the issue. So if I work in Bud Collie, who I do really like, or even Ben James is another one you can use at $7,400. Chris Kirk is another one that you can use there. You can go from, who do I take? Who would you take down here? Would you just take down, is there a $6,100 player is any good? Oh, Jimmy Stanger. Remember him? He was awesome. Donald Ross specialist, Cam Davis.
Oh, man. Is he a Donald Ross specialist?
I mean, he won twice at the Rocket.
God,
so.
Yeah. Plus 7.9% for just like how much more often he gains strokes in a round. That's a big number. So I think that's the move. Just go to Cam Davis. If you're going to go down there, like you're already playing with fire, just go there.
Yeah. You could just go to Matsuyama. And then you could take Bud Collie up to 78, and you can get like Sungjae, Doug Gim, or Ben Coles. Gim's going to be popular, but I'm fine with Gim at this course. It's good for me.
It's so weird that Cam Davis is this bad now.
It happens.
It does.
Sometimes you're just finished. That's all.
Well, the thing with him too is like I think typically when we see this from a player, it's somebody who like they were consistently good, then they kind of just lost and they were consistently bad. With Cam Davis, he's always gone through stretches where he's been really bad, but he's always been able to figure it out at some point and then go through a hot stretch. And like this time he just can't figure it out. And a really weird spike overseas at the Scottish to go T21 in this sea of missed cuts. But it's sad just looking at just how bad he's been week after week after week.
Oh, see, if we take down that Koiven spot to Alex Fitzpatrick, then you can work in like Chris Kirk. You can go Alex Fitzpatrick. You can get rid of Chatfield, Alex Fitz, Justin Thomas, Tom Kim, Blades Brown, Bud Collie, and Chris Kirk. That could be like the balanced version of the crazy lineup that I was trying to build.
Yeah, I think this will be more like the typical structure we see from single entries. But even though it's a more common build, I think it's the kind of lineup that I prefer. So the other thing you could do is like you could leave Koiven, and then instead of having two more 9K guys, you choose between JT and Tom Kim, and now you do the same thing. You upgrade your weakest link, or maybe you leave Chatfield, and now you just have a more balanced lineup elsewhere. So yeah, like this type of thing works as well.
Yeah, Koiven, Kim, Ben Griffin, Blades Brown, Bud Collie, Chatfield. I don't think anyone's going to use Ben Griffin either. That's just me.
I think you're probably right. And one thing that I kind of learned about Ben Griffin in these splits is he doesn't blow up often. He has the lowest blow up rate of all players in this field, but you're also giving up some round to round upside because he's only at 15% for the boom rates when the other elite guys are at or above 20%.
It's the driver that's really got the best of him. So he's reverting back to how he used to be, but he has gained on approach in 7 straight events. And it's not like he's gaining Sungjae 0.06 on approach. He's gaining like 3, 2.5. He's been fine with his irons, which I'll take it here if he can find some fairways. And he's played well at some of these shorter courses too.
Yeah, also been quite good on and around the greens, which is certainly a nice skill to have on this golf course. And as we saw last year, like that's something that he can sustain. So it really is just a question of can he drive the ball well? And it's been very hit or miss this season, which I think we kind of all like assumed coming into the season, right? Like even when you and I were doing some best ball drafts in the off season, we were kind of saying like, well, how sustainable was last year for Ben Griffin? Because he went from a not very good driver of the golf ball to a great driver of the golf ball. That seemed like the most likely part of his game to regress, and that's been the story for most of the season.
All right, well, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. I want to thank all of you for watching. I want to thank Keith Stewart for being on the line for the final word. And obviously, again, Alex Blickle, tell everyone where they can get all your content now.
go to blickanalytics.com, B-L-I-C-K analytics.com. I think it does a better job of kind of explaining how everything's set up. So you know exactly where to find the Discord. All of my analysis from slate to slate is in the Discord, and now all of the charts. So the splits, the projections, the ownership is now on the site. And as you mentioned off the top, like the price is going to go up once we start the NFL season. Now that I'm able to provide my ownership projections, my GPP scores, and my own projections for the NFL season. But if you get in before then, if you get in any time in August, you are locked into the current price. So you might as well get some extra golf on your hands with that.
All right, that will do it for me. Obviously, smash the like, rate and review the show, and go to betspertsgolf.com. Use code Mayo, get yourself the discount, and run any of the models that you want, and look for all those splits coming, okay? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!